Hello, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Collar here from TCO Performance Center as we continue to preview Minnesota Vikings training camp. We're going position by position, so detailed that we will talk about tight ends and heck, let's throw in some fullbacks as well. Let's start with Irv Smith Jr. He is the biggest story of training camp. He is coming off an injury that kept him out all of last season. After last year, everyone was talking about Irv Smith's training camp, but he got hurt in the final preseason. Now, you could certainly ask whether he should have been playing in the final preseason game, and I think this year the Vikings will handle that differently, but that's another talking point, I guess, for another day. With Irv Smith Jr., he is emerging last year in training camp, becoming a popular Kirk Cousins weapon after showing flashes in his first two seasons. And if you remember all the way back to 2020, Irv Smith got an opportunity to be tight end number one when Kyle Rudolph was hurt at the end of the year, and Irv Smith shined in that role. So we didn't get to see him take that next step last year, but this year we will. And there is good news on the front of Irv Smith's injury, which is initially it seemed like the way they were talking was that he would not be back until the start of training camp, but instead he was out there for OTAs and minicamp. He was running routes and he looked good, so he'll be 100% when it comes to the start of training camp, and he will really be the only tight end on this team that the Vikings can rely upon. If you look at who is behind Irv Smith Jr., you have Johnny Munt, Ben Ellefson. Like, these are not guys that you think are going to push him for that position. So it is Irv Smith Jr.'s job. Now, how he's going to be used. The Vikings in previous years on offense could be criticized for some things, that's for sure. How they used Irv Smith Jr., probably not, though. They moved him to a lot of different positions. He played outside receiver, in the slot, regular tight end position. We didn't see him in the backfield much, but you could do that with him as well as he did in college. Will they do that again? Now, if you look at the way the Los Angeles Rams use their tight end, because that's where Kevin O'Connell comes from, it was a little bit different with Tyler Higbee because he's much bigger. He's 260 pounds, where Irv Smith is more toward 230, 240, but the blocking assignments seem like they're going to be the same. But Irv Smith is a little faster. You can move him to different spots. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that. And then the battle behind Irv Smith Jr. will be very interesting as well, because not only do you have blocking tight ends like Johnny Munt and Ben Ellefson, but you also have one that they drafted recently in Zach Davidson, who is somebody that is incredibly tall and incredibly fast. His athletic scores are off the charts, but last year did not show a whole lot of ability to play at the NFL level. He's a guy that came from FCS. He was a tight end / punter in college. There's a big jump for tight ends no matter where you went to college, but for Zach Davidson, it was huge last year. Will he emerge as a guy who can make the roster? And then the sleeper among the tight ends, Nick Muse. He was drafted in the 7th round. Now, he's a guy that's on the bigger side but has some receiving upside, sort of emerged last season in college. Vikings take a shot on another very good athlete. So that battle going on behind Irv Smith Jr. will be one to watch. And as you're always concerned about potential injuries, you're looking for who would be able to step in if Irv Smith Jr. had to miss time. Now, we'll be doing every single position here on our preview.
And do fullbacks? You said in there you do fullbacks.
Man.
We can cut it.
Okay, let's talk about those fullbacks. Really just fullback. It's C.J. Ham. And here's your update. They still like C.J. Ham. There's no real news here. They like C.J. Ham. But now there was a question going into training camp and going into Kevin O'Connell arriving is the Los Angeles Rams did not really use a fullback. So were they going to stay committed to the Ham? And the answer appears to be yes, more Ham. Now, the thing is that Kevin O'Connell, what his goal is for the Vikings is to utilize everybody to their best skill set. And C.J. Ham may draw the frustration of fans at times when he receives checkdowns from Kirk Cousins. But C.J. Ham has been on the right side of a lot of big plays for the Vikings, whether it's been as a blocker or whether it's been getting the ball. There's one particular one against Carolina. He had a big run out of the backfield. He's good for a couple of plays a year that are explosive. Plus, he can line up at tight end if you need him. They can even motion him out and bring him back into the backfield. He's one of the smartest players on the field. So I promise you folks, if you're a C.J. Ham fan, you could keep your jersey. You don't have to put tape over it and put somebody else's name on it. This team will be using C.J. Ham. But how much? How often? Where will they move him around to? These will be all things that we're watching during training camp. So check out quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and all our other previews from TCO Performance Center. And of course, when camp does arrive, we will be here every single day. So listen to the Purple Insider podcast and go to purpleinsider.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Get all the updates sent right to your email. Check that out, purpleinsider.com. Thanks, everybody.